This is Raina Campbell, your Chief Dream Driver, and welcome to the No Parking Podcast, where through conversations and discussions with creators like yourself, we'll find interesting approaches to help you take your dreams out of park, put them in drive, and ride towards success.
Create mantras for your life, for every area of your life that you want to grow, you want to get better at, you want to be more successful at. You have to say, I'm a magnet to money. You have to say, I am already successful. You have to say, I am a winner. You have to continue to feed yourself, mind, body, and soul to be successful. It doesn't just happen just because you have a great idea.
Hey, Dream Drivers, welcome to episode 95 of the Dreams in Drive podcast. And today our guest is Ashunta Sharif, who's a celebrity makeup artist, brand ambassador, educator, and beauty entrepreneur. And she's worked with some top stars that you probably know, such as Taraji P. Henson, Alicia Keys, Tracee Ellis Ross, Diddy, Zoe Kravitz, Carrie Hilson, and more. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about what are the key business and life fundamentals that you must master if you want to succeed. And Ashunta shares her own personal dream driving journey from getting started out at the Mac counter in Macy's Herald Square to the circumstances that led her to her first celebrity booking. And from there, it was history. So some of the topics that we discuss in today's episode include why she keeps a dream journal, the importance of keeping good books when working with the agency makes sense, how to market your brand and negotiate your rates, what Ashunta thinks that you need to do if you want to work with celebrity clientele, how new makeup artists can really make their mark in this industry, the big trademarking challenge that she faced as she ventured into product development, her favorite beauty tips, what keeps her going, and more. But first, let me give you guys a little bit of a backstory. So when I actually did the interview with Ashunta, she was actually on set with Taraji P. Henson, and she, came onto the interview telling me she only had 15 minutes. And I was so nervous. I was like, wow, 15 minutes. I've never done a podcast interview in only 15 minutes. I didn't want to tell her that. I was nervous and that I didn't think I could do it. So in my head, I was like, all right, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to just figure out how we're going to do this interview in 15 minutes and make it worthwhile. And I think the big lesson here is that you have to be prepared for anything. Things can change quickly. So if you don't know how to pivot and you aren't necessarily sure of how to make it work with what you got, then you can be in big trouble. So what actually ended up happening was that we actually were able to speak for over 40 minutes, and her client, which was Taraji P. Henson, didn't come looking for her until the end of the interview. And when she did, she even took over the interview for a quick second. So yes, you guys will be hearing from Taraji at the end of this interview. Make sure that you listen to the entire thing. Don't rush to the end, but it was kind of fun to be able to talk to Taraji. So overall, this interview was a pleasure to do. Ashunta is so skilled and knowledgeable about what she does. I felt like I learned so much, and I'm nowhere near trying to be a makeup artist. So you guys, this was a pleasure. And that's the thing that I love about doing interviews with different dream drivers from across different industries. There's always something that you can learn everywhere from everyone. And that's something that I've definitely learned over these past 95 episodes. So as always, make sure that you're following us on social at Dreams and Drive and using the hashtag Dreams and Drive. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening if you want to get updated every time we have a new episode. I can't wait to hear what you guys think. This episode is dope. AshuntaIsTheBomb.com. I hope you guys enjoy. Hi, Ashunta. Thank you so much for being a guest on today's episode of Dreams and Drive.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
I am so excited to talk to you. I actually first heard about you or first became aware of your work at the Beat and Snatched event. Do you remember that panel event you were on? I want to say back in 2014.
Yeah, it's a while ago. Yeah, I do remember it.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, all these celebrity makeup artists. I didn't even realize I was just out of college at that time. I didn't really even know that people made lifetime careers doing makeup, right? So that was definitely an interest of mine that was sparked. I'm glad you're here on the show. First thing I love to ask our guests, though, just to kind of go back in time, what inspired you as a child? Did you think that when you were, a young 8-year-old child that you would one day be doing celebrities' makeup and grooming?
When I was younger, I was always creative. I was, paint on my mother's walls, which is not a good thing. I was cutting curtains, cutting dresses. I was always making something, and it was with a little mischief involved. Mm-hmm. And I was just always a creative kid. And I finally got tired of getting spankings and decided to put the, crayon to the paper, so to speak. And I started coloring and then painting. And then, by the time I hit like double digits, 10, 11, 12, writing became like a serious passion for me. And I really actually foresaw myself being a writer. Mm-hmm. And then as I got a little bit older, I started becoming really enthralled with history. And so then I found anthropology. So when I went to Howard University, I majored in anthropology. So it's always been rooted in creativity, but then it started becoming like grounded in this history. And the reason why it's so important, I think, to know history as a makeup artist, because when you work on films like Hidden Figures or the movie I'm working currently right now called Best of Enemies, starring Taraji P. Henson and Sam Rockwell, you are thrown into a time period and you need to know your history. You need to know what the looks look like. You need to know how women did their makeup, how they did their lipstick, how they did their eyeliner. Did they wear foundation? Did they not? If they were Black women, did they have colors that worked for them? Did they hand make stuff in their kitchen? So being a makeup artist, what I have found for myself is that, it taps into all those areas that I was interested in as a child. So yeah, the interest was there, but did I know I would be a makeup artist? Absolutely not. But I knew I'd be something creative.
So I know early on in your career, you got your start working in Macy's, right? How did that evolve? Like, how did that, you working behind the counter in Macy's evolve into you working with P. Diddy, all these different celebrities that kind of help you build your career?
Well, to correct you, I got my start at MAC.
Oh, MAC. Okay,
and
sorry.
Yeah, I started at MAC, and I did end up opening Macy's Herald Square counter. I was on the opening team that opened up that MAC, but I started at MAC. Okay. And I actually worked at Ricky's as well, which is a New York-based fun store to go into. Has great hair and makeup. It's like a beauty supply store, but like on steroids. And started in that area. But when I saw that we did runway shows and MAC had a pro team, and that there were like different things that you could do as a makeup artist, whether it be editorial, whether it be an ad campaign, whether it be Broadway, whether it be film, television, whether it's red carpet, whether it's runway, there's so many areas that I started getting exposure to from working at MAC and from meeting people that came to MAC, and then I saw that there was a world outside. I remember one day MAC had a show inside of Macy's, and we were asked, they asked the managers, could you pull together some people to do the makeup for the Adidas show, preview show that they're doing right downstairs in Run DMC, and this rapper named Sola, what was her name? Genuine's wife.
I know what you're talking about. Yes.
I think her name is Solo. Yeah. So, we had like a little celebrities. Well, Genuine wasn't a little celebrity back then. He was a big celebrity. Run DMC were huge celebrities. So, we did makeup for them and for the models. And so it just really began to pique my interest. Like, there's people doing things outside of the counter and you can actually get paid for it, and it's makeup. And so I started researching. I started finding out that makeup artists had agencies that they were with, managers, all kind of stuff. And so just as I began to open up my horizon and gain knowledge, I was able to find that there was a career that could be built in makeup. And so then I started to make that. I always kept a dream journal. I always wrote down dream clients, the types of jobs that I wanted. And I really kind of manifested a lot of the things that have happened to me because I wrote it on paper. I had the kind of mom who raised me that there's power in the tongue and there's power in your word. And so when I would put that word down on paper, it's like the universe heard me and it would come back to me. So like 75% of the clients that I wrote on paper that I wanted to work with, I've worked with them, to date.
That is from amazing. That who was the first client that you had written down that you actually got to work with?
Wow. That's hard, but for me to remember because it's really a long time ago, but I'm going to say the first female client that I wrote in that book was Alicia Keys. And Alicia Keys, I ended up being her makeup artist for over a decade. I also wrote down Tracy Ellis Ross. And then I end up working with her eventually. There are people, I can count more people that I didn't work with because I wrote like Megan Good. And I ended up working with Megan Good. Sanaa Lathan was on my list. So I wrote down first, like, of course, all the Black actresses and Black celebrities. And even indirectly, if I didn't work with them, I end up working with them. Like Beyonce was on my list. I've never directly done Beyonce's makeup, but for her Work It Out video, the makeup artist didn't have the color bronzer that, that was appealing to her. Don't want to say he didn't have what he needed, but it didn't work for what she wanted. And so her mom saw me running around the set because I did I was there assisting. And she said, can you help us out? And I just mixed together, some bronzer and some oils and little stuff. And I glistened her whole body for that hula hoop scene.
Whoa.
And, so even her, like I end up indirectly working with her. And then I end up going on tour indirectly with her when we did Ladies First, with her, Alicia Keys and Missy Elliott and Tamia. So, the universe, like I said, has played the part, the beginning, middle, and ending in terms of my life story. And all it took was for me to write my dreams and aspirations down on paper, and I've watched it unfold.
So one of the things that I know, I've read a lot of articles that you've done, and you really try to stress to people who want to build their brands in this industry, is to really have a solid foundation when it comes to the business of this business, right? The business of beauty. What are some key tips you would give to aspiring makeup artists, aspiring creatives who want to work in media and entertainment? Like, what are some core business fundamentals you need to have down pat?
Well, I think definitely the first thing, you should start learning is like how set etiquette stuff. So like if you're working in a magazine shoot set, or if you're working on a movie or TV film set, and just how to conduct yourself. I think that a lot of young makeup artists come into the industry, having the admiration and love for makeup and have the talent and skills, but you don't know exactly what conduct is until you learn it. So if people would take the time to learn that kind of stuff, and I mean, just literal things like how you carry yourself, how you don't talk on set, you don't take phone calls on set. You don't even take phone calls when you're with your celebrity clients. Like I still to this day, like if Taraji's walking in the trailer and I'm on a call, I'm like, I've got to go, Taraji's stepping in. There's just etiquette that a lot of people don't know that carries through to how they are, how they're operating in a business. Because you're a business. It's the same thing. Like when you go into the nail salon to get your nails done, well, how would you feel if the girl is on the phone while doing your nails? You would be like, come on, lady, you're not paying attention. So that kind of stuff, little etiquette stuff, being on time, time management is super important in this industry. Just you being 15 minutes, 20 minutes late to the wrong client can ruin you. So you need to make sure you're mindful of your time, not befriending clients right away. They're not your best friend. You're there to do a job. Not every relationship is going to be a Taraji Assunta relationship. This relationship is special because it was rooted in friendship first. And that's what a lot of people, may not know is I actually met her first as a human, as a person, not a client. And we became friends. And as time went on, I became her makeup artist. I was never a makeup artist to begin with. So we hung out, had fun, enjoyed ourselves as friends, went to dinners. You can't do that if you're just starting to work with J-Lo. You're going to look crazy. You're going to look like a groupie. So,
yes.
Even now, 20 plus years in this industry, if I work with a new client, I'm mindful of my speech in front of them, what I'm saying. So there's just self-conduct, how you operate, being on time. That's the first step, I think, to running a successful business, because you have to realize your business is you. And then also to dressing the part. Making sure that when you show up to jobs, you look presentable, don't have your butt hanging out and your underwear exposed, or wearing clothes that's for the club, while you're working, like wearing booty shorts and your cheeks are hanging out, that kind of stuff. Conducting yourself, because you are the walking billboard for your business. And then in terms of actual business, making sure that if you don't have management or representation for yourself, that you're keeping a journal with all of your jobs logged in them. Every time you finish a job, every time I book a job, I would write it down, the date, the job, and I would put TBD, to be determined. Once it became official, I would write underneath it, the date, the job, and it's official, and the rate. And then once the job comes in, I would write in the date, the job, paid, once the check came in. So you have to keep good books when you're a makeup artist because, filing taxes are real and you are a real business and you don't want to end up in any trouble with the IRS because you didn't file books properly or you didn't take proper payments or you took all cash payments and you're trying to, not claim anything. It's still a business. And then the other thing I would say too is, getting an LLC, finding a cute little niche, little concept that you like, flawless beauty on fleek or whatever you like that works with you and your vibration and your energy. You make that LLC, you get an EIN number and you start getting paid through your business because that also will help you to write off way more taxes. And then you're not going to have as many issues getting hit with owing the government so much later on, So there's just those kind of steps. And then if you're really seeing yourself, you've done all of those things and you're thriving, you may want to look for a manager. You may want to look for an agency because that's going to now double your income, maybe possibly triple, quadruple your income. Because when you get an agency, now you have other ears and eyes out there in the world that hear about jobs that are telling you about, potential clients that you could work with because now you've done the work. To be able to get there. Because by the time you're getting an agent, don't go to an agent when you don't have the work done. That's another thing. People go to agents too soon with their first test shots and, the first work they ever did. But realistically, wait till you have a couple of celebrities under your belt because you have leveraging weight when you do go to an agency like, hey, I'm already working with so-and-so and so-and-so. And I'm doing all of this. And when they look at everything you're doing, if it works well with the agency, you will then get an agent. And then that's going to broaden your client perspective. They're going to now say, hey, we have so-and-so on our team now. And now you can do, so-and-so and this person and that person. And you may not have had the reach to get to that person or this person because the agency has everybody they have access to. They know all the publicists. They know all the managers for everybody. Mm-hmm. So, that's how work happens. So those are the steps I feel like, you have to take place. Of course, your marketing presentation, which nowadays people look at Instagram, but, I'm coming from an era where you didn't look at Instagram. You looked at a website and you actually sent a real hard portfolio, bound portfolio. And that's how you got jobs. We didn't get jobs because you went on my Instagram page and saw my pictures and you liked it. That just didn't exist. So, but that's okay. This is a new business model and we just adding it in. So make sure your Instagram page is representing you as well. Don't have represent yourself as a makeup artist and you're smoking weed on your page or you're yelling at your kids in videos or you twerking. Like, just be mindful that everybody is watching and that sometimes the most funnest person in the room doesn't always work.
That is so true. One thing you mentioned, I think a lot of people struggle with it, though, is figuring out your rates. In your industry, are there set rates or is it something that you just kind of feel and then kind of, how do you go about figuring out how much you charge your clients?
Well, there are set rates for certain jobs. Like editorial has its set rate for inside of the book and on the cover of the book has a rate. Then occasionally, you may get a little bump up in a rate for editorial, but pretty much across the board, editorial is between $150 and $750. You're not really going to get much more than that unless you get a product to sponsor you. Let's say, you got a Christian Dior Beauty sponsors you and does a cover. And if you get it approved, I'm doing this person for W Magazine and it's in their line of magazines that they support, then they'll pay you on top of that. But for the most part, advertising, editorial, film, and TV all have set rates. The only thing that doesn't kind of have a set rate is red carpet. And that can range from anywhere I've heard as low as $200, which is ridiculous, but all the way to thousands and thousands of dollars.
Wow.
A red carpet at the Oscars, people are sometimes paying their glam squads, paying hair $4,000, paying makeup $4,000, paying stylists $10,000, to style them for the day. And of course, it's the Oscars. It's the biggest night on the planet for these people. The Grammys, the same thing. So rates can jump around all over the place. Also to your lineage in terms of how you came into the industry can determine your rate. So like if you're someone who has been you've worked and assisted really high profile makeup artists, you kind of get grandfathered in with their rates because people see you as that. You know, they're like, oh, you were taught by Pat McGrath, so you obviously have Pat McGrath skills. So we're going to pay you not Pat McGrath's prices, but really good ones, you know. So those are all the things that go into play when rates are being determined. And then the other thing, too, is, you know, it's OK sometimes to take a discount if the job is worth it. Like I tell a lot of young artists, don't sell yourself short. Definitely, you know, play a little hardball with rates, because a lot of times if people say they don't have it, they got a little wiggle room, but don't box yourself in where you can't get the job because you're being so hardballish about it. Sometimes I've had to take the job that didn't pay me as much, but it led to something much greater for me. It led to me really nailing that client, nailing that look, and them booking me for months and months for all kind of stuff. So, you know, it's all strategy. You know, it's all about being smart, conducting yourself properly, keeping good books, you know, hopefully building up great images, and then getting a manager or an agent to take you to that next level. And the next level after that is obviously, you know, creating a product of your own.
So being that you've been in the game a long time, where do you see a space for up and coming makeup artists to really make an impact in the industry?
Well, I think up and coming makeup artists are partnered best with up and coming talent. That's your best way to grow. You know, when I was with Alicia Keys was on the grind. She was rising up. She wasn't at the top. You know, she was an amazing artist. She was doing amazing things. But remind you, she was only one album in, you know, so from one album to 2 albums, 3, 4 albums, and boom, here she is at The Voice. She's on a whole nother stratosphere in her career, you know. So that's the best growth. You know, why would you want to, you know, immediately jump to a J-Lo? Where would you go after that?
That's so true.
I feel like it gives you no room to grow if you come in. I think a lot of young artists are hungry, and I get being hungry because I was a young artist and I was hungry. But there are baby steps. And when you build your career properly and you take the time and you really put one foot in front of the other and you really strategize, you know, okay, let me work with Jill Scott. That's going to be dope. Let me work with Erykah Badu. That's going to be dope. Oh, let me work with and you just keep elevating and elevating and elevating. And then by the time you get to that place, when you're with like a Beyonce, you're not hurting if Beyonce doesn't want to work with you anymore, because you have a whole trail of clients behind you that still will want you.
But you know what the
As opposed to you were with Beyonce out the gate, where are you going? You know, like not everybody is a follower, you know, in terms of the celebrity aspect in their mind state. There's some celebrities who are looking and saying, oh, I like how she look. I want to have that look, because they're women and, you know, it's just human nature. But for the most part, from my experience with clients, a lot of my clients are very independent. They want to do their own thing. They like how they look. They want to rock their thing their way. And they're not trying to be anybody else. So just because I worked with Beyonce, so what? That's what Taraji would tell me. Like, that don't mean nothing. Are you going to beat my face? How my face looks great.
I could picture her saying it like that too. Like, so what?
Yeah. Like, and she loves Beyonce. Don't get it twisted. But it's just like, that means nothing. You know, just because you beat Kim K's face don't mean you're going to beat India.Arie's face amazing. So you have to really show, to me, also diversity. Like, I mean, you're not going to gain, you know, a Lupita client and you've only done white females. That's going to really look at her like, I don't know about that. You got to have a nice barrage of black females that you've touched and done amazing work on for her to trust you too.
Mm-hmm. So what, you know, the big thing that I'm thinking about is, how do you go from like doing your sister's makeup to then booking a celebrity client? Is there something that, if you know your end goal is to work with celebrities, to work with big names, that you really need to, like, you know, events you have to attend, things you have to do in order to kind of make that transition eventually?
Well, see, you guys, and you know, who are new makeup artists, don't have this whole arena of work that it's totally missing from the industry, and it's music videos. Music videos happen, but they're not a big deal. People look at them online. They're not necessarily on MTV or VH1 or BET. There's no 106 in Park. There's no big moment to showcase this video work. And I feel like videos was a great starting place for up and coming makeup artists, because that's where I really got my foot in the door with celebrities. My very first music video that I ever worked on was 112, Dance With Me. So I got called on that video only because I was in the right place at the right time. And it's always, to me, a number of steps that lead to the big moment. It's never just happening. It's not by chance. It's the universe lining everything up. I was working at I got fired first from Mac. And I always tell everybody that, because I had a daughter and I was in an abusive relationship. And so, I would get all these threatening calls at work from her dad. And so my mom, really stepped in to help me out. And she would, I would have to basically come all the way from Brooklyn, all the way to Harlem, drop my daughter. She was very young at the time. She was like 9-10 months. I would drop her off, and then I'd go all the way back to Herald Square, work at Macy's. And there was, several times where I just had to leave the counter early because, unfortunately her father was a maniac at that time. He's a different person now, but, it was bad then. And I just didn't trust that he wouldn't hurt her.
Wow.
So
your daughter?
So I had to leave. I had to leave work sometimes early, and it put me at jeopardy, because Mac would have understood it, because Mac has more leniency with issues and family problems, but Macy's doesn't. And I had 3 strikes against me because I was late. And I was late only because I was a mom. I wasn't late because I was out partying. I was late because the train connecting me to go to Harlem, I had to take 2 different trains.
That's a long ride too. Brooklyn to Harlem.
And I lived in Sunset Park, so I was on the N&R train. I had to get on the N&R train, then take it to 2 or 3 train. And then, so that's a lot, for a young mother. And I would hustle as hard as I could. And, I just wouldn't always make it on time. And, 3 strikes against me, I lost my job. So that day I lost my job, I literally ran into a friend who used to work at Mac. And he was like, "Why are you crying?" I'm like crying in the middle of the street. And I told him what happened. I was like, I'm in this abusive relationship. My baby daddy and I just broke down to him. And he was like, no. He said, "I got you." And he walked me up to Henry Bendel. And he basically introduced me to a lady there named Millie. And Millie was the manager of a new makeup line that just launched. It only been out 6 months, called Laura Mercier. And so I was like, awesome. It's a new line, great new energy. So I got literally a new job the day I got fired. So this is the universe. And then from that new job, we had all kind of events that happened at Henry Bendel, which they don't do those anymore. But there would be mixers and tasters with cocktails, and all the music industry is in that area where Henry Bendel's is. It's Sony is there, 550 Madison, and Universal's right across town on 8th Avenue. So everybody ends up at Henry Bendel's to buy that lipstick or get that shoe for that event. And I met this lady named Stacey Gray, and she watched me do a bunch of makeovers, and she loved how I did makeup. And she was like, "Here's my card." And I gave her mine. And she said, "I'll be in touch if I ever need any help." People say that kind of stuff to you all the time, but I was pleasant. I was nice. I was friendly. I was enthusiastic. Of course, I didn't care whether she was lying or not. Just the fact that she even said it. Cool. Great. Yeah, call me, and then the next thing a couple of weeks went by, and she called me at like 5:00 in the morning. And she was like, "I need you. I don't have a makeup artist. I'm doing this video." She didn't tell me what it was. And I was like, "Oh my gosh. Okay, where do I need to go tomorrow?" She's like, "No, now I need you to get up now and get dressed and meet the bus down at Port Authority at Times Square at 6 a.m. And I'm like, "It's 5:00. She's like, I know. You'll make it." And
Did you make
I went in the room. Yeah, I did. I went in the room and I took my baby out of the bed with me, because at this point now I've moved to my mom's house and I left the relationship. I left my daughter in bed with my mom. My mom was like, "Go, do you. You're trying to break into this industry, do it." And I went and I made the van, and I got to Jersey, and literally the rest is history. That's when my life changed. I did, all these girls for the 112 video. And then I ended up having to groom like 1 or 2 of the male artists that were on there, like Beanie Siegel and Loon did a feature. And then when Puff saw the music video, the edited music video, he was really impressed with how the girls look, how the guys looked. He said, "They look clean. They look good." Cause I had to do like one of the members of 112. And then finally their groomer made it. And then he finished them off. But he noticed everything. He's a perfectionist. And his assistant was like, "Yo," she called me and she was like, "Puff loved how you did those guys. Like, You know, you made him look natural. You didn't make him look like that, a bunch of makeup on. And, you know, he wants to book you. And I was like, okay, cool. You know, I was like, cool.
You didn't even think anything of it. Like, you just thought, okay.
Didn't think anything of it. And then, you know, after she gave me a list of products that cost me a grip to go purchase that he only liked to use.
You have to use your own money?
Yeah. So I bought him all the stuff, including this damn fragrance that cost $225. You know, I was a young mom.
That's
I'm
part
like,
of building your kit, right? Like that's
right. It was part of building my kit, part of a tax write-off. And that's what I kept saying to myself, like, it's going to be okay. You're going to be all right. You know, you spent like $800, but you're going to make it. And, you know, like literally, I got a call from his assistant after the first thing I did with him. And she's like, Puff, loved your energy. Here are all the dates. And she just rolled out like almost 2 months of dates with him. And he was my first client. And it all happened because I was nice to Stacey Gray. I was enthusiastic. I showed up when she said she needed me. I was dependable. And that's what I always tell a lot of young artists. Your phone has to be on. Even now, even though I'm still mostly with Taraji 90% of the time, my phone is on by my bed. When I go to sleep, not on set, but when I go to sleep, I need to be able to get that call. That's the difference between me and you getting that job. So these are just tips. You got to be on call. It's like a doctor. You know, hairstylists and makeup artists, when somebody needs you, they're not going to, if they can't get you one time on the phone, they're on to the next person. So if I am lackadaisical in how I deal with my business, you know, then I'm going to lose out on opportunity. And that's really the key to success is just, you have to seek opportunity you have to think that every person you meet, there's a potential opportunity, not be an opportunist, but that there's an opportunity. And what I'll break that down as, I treat everyone nice. I'm friendly and kind to everyone. There's always a welcoming smile and a, hey girl, how you doing? You know, you just have to be genuine and mean it from your heart. And then you set an impression on people because people are like, she was so nice. You know, I'm not trying to be nice. That's just who I am as a person. But I also know that being nice, that one extra step of being nice to people, it resonates with people. And that's what gets people jobs too.
So just time check, because we were almost at like 30 minutes. I didn't even realize that.
It's okay. She didn't call me yet.
Okay. So let's, give me
That's another thing. When you're on set, don't leave your client to do a phone interview. But hey, I'm doing it.
Now, and so many people are going to be inspired by this. I'm here taking notes too, and I'm not even a makeup artist, right? I don't even know the difference between brushes. But one of the things I want to say is, can I say something really quick? What I'm saying to you applies to anything, you know, and that's what I've gained in 20 years of being a makeup artist and now an entrepreneur, that it really doesn't matter whether I made balloons, you know, or clogs, you know, it's just all of those things is in how you conduct yourself, how you carry yourself, your time, being friendly, being professional, you know, all of this, and then keeping good records. That's just basic stuff for any business. So what inspires you to venture into product development and create your own products?
Well, I think it's a natural progression to want to develop your own products and have something, you know, like your legacy, you know, otherwise you just worked and did makeup and that's it. But I think that, you know, there's something to be said that when you do, you know, if that's your choice to just want to do makeup, that's fine. But I feel like everybody, after they've done something for 20 years, they want to do something greater. They want to leave a bigger mark behind. And, you know, that's just I think it's just a natural step in evolution, you know, in your career. You know, now you're ready to be a boss.
What were some of the biggest challenges during that period when you were just, you know, figuring out how you were going to make this foundation stick, how you were going to get everything done? Like, what's the biggest hurdle you had to jump over during that time?
I feel like the biggest hurdle that I had to jump over during that time is that, you know, when I first launched my makeup line and I went on QVC, I had just huge dreams of, you know, my makeup line's going to be all over the world. And, you know, God had a different plan for me. And you know, I ended up getting literally shut down like maybe a couple couple of minutes after I came off air. And what I'll say is this is where your due diligence really, it means something and it matters. I had a business partner and he didn't basically do the trade search for the name properly the way he should have. And there was a woman in Texas who owned Perfect Face. And what ended up happening is I had to pay her to license to use it. But since then, I've renamed my line as Shunta Sharif Beauty. When we relaunch our new formulation, which is going to be this fall, later in the fall, we will have new, the same packaging, but it will be labeled differently. But, I was hit with that, and QVC loved my product, and I came back several more times, but it's just like, they were like, this just doesn't feel good for us because you still have this done situation down here in Texas. And so I had to pack up my stuff and mosey on along, and you feel like a failure at first, but I didn't give up. I made a website. I started selling my product online. I then started selling to retailers and doing some wholesale sales. And, now we're in 37, different retail locations around the globe. And that's small. It's not huge, but it's growth. And I'm proud of myself. We have hundreds of amazing, loyal clients, and we're growing every single day. And I honestly feel like God knows best, because if I had gone to Empire, which is what I did, how would I be on QVC every day? It'd be impossible, And sometimes I feel like, God isn't finished working with you yet. Like, Ashunta, you did all of these things in your career, but you've never had a #1 TV show on television. You've never had Emmy nominations. Now I've had two. I've had 2 Emmy nominations, and now I'm moving possibly into an Oscar nomination. You never know. That's my next dream and aspiration. So I just feel like everything happens in its right time. My line is definitely going to blow all the way out the water, but I don't mind taking the baby steps to get it there. And that's all I'm trying to say, I think, to most young makeup artists or entrepreneurs. Slow and steady wins the race. Whenever you rush for something or just rush to complete something, it's never lasting. It never ends up fulfilling you to the place that it could go, because you didn't give it the time to feed it and nurture it properly. And when you feed something and nurture it properly, including a business, it's going to pay you back tenfold.
So what's something that, if you weren't a makeup artist, what would you be doing instead?
I'd probably be a college professor, and I'd probably be teaching history or something.
Really? That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, I love history, or I'd be an English teacher. But it would definitely be in college, because I'd have dreads and I would have glasses and, I would wear like dope ass caftans and really dope jeweled out sandals. Like, I have a whole look for my professor look.
Well, you know what? You never know. You could do like an editorial. Maybe you could have Taraji be the student and you be the professor. You guys do some kind of campaign that way.
That would be awesome. From your lips to God's ears.
So as we wind down, I definitely just want to ask you, thinking about, the show is called Dreams and Drive, where people learn how to take their dreams out of park and into drive. What do you think being a dream driver, like what does being a dream driver mean to you? When you hear the word dream driver, what comes to mind?
I feel like when I hear the word dream driver, someone that just keeps on pushing. They keep on pushing by any means necessary. They keep on pushing. It's very eyes on the prize. You see it. It's happening. You may go through some fire. You may even have to walk over some hot coal, but you're going to get there. And that's what dream driving means to me. You're never giving up.
If you want to be a dream driver, you have to have your keys to success. So tell me 3 things that you think every dream driver, no matter what industry you're in, whether you're a makeup artist or whatever, 3 things you need to have in your toolkit before you hit the road.
Ooh, a journal. Something that inspires you. For me, it's music. So whatever that inspires you, that can motivate you and keep you going, use that. And for me, it is music. Music is my love. It's my first love, in fact. So a lot of times it goes hand in hand. That journal comes out, my certain music goes on, and that's when I feel inspired. And the other thing is to say mantras. Create mantras for your life, for every area of your life that you want to grow, you want to get better at, you want to be more successful at. You have to say, I'm a magnet to money. You have to say, I am already successful. You have to say, I am a winner. You have to continue to feed yourself, mind, body, and soul to be successful. It doesn't just happen just because you have a great idea. It's also the people, you look at someone like the guy who created Facebook. I can't remember his name right now. Mark Zuckerberg, exactly. We saw the movie. We don't know how factual everything is in the movie, but the thing that I got from that movie, the same thing I get from every movie that tells a story of success, is the drive, the motivation, and the self-belief. Even when everyone's saying no, 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 you're like, no, absolutely, I can't hear no. And that's what you have to continue to keep going by, that song. Until that song dims in your mind, then it's time to let it go. You know, but when it's not dimming and it's still like, I could do this. I know I could do this. I know I got this. You have to continue to build yourself, because not everybody even close around you wants you to be successful. You have haters around you who are your family and your friends who don't want to see you rise to a certain level, because then you're not on the same level that they're on anymore. And they feel intimidated by that. They feel intimidated by your success. They feel like they have to hold you back by saying, what are you dreaming like that for? Are you crazy? Because they never dreamed, or they had dreams and didn't continue to push forward. So even be mindful and careful of who you share your dreams with. A lot of times I feel like you have to keep things to yourself. You know, Wendy Williams said, you know, and it's funny, I'm quoting Wendy Williams, but Wendy Williams said that when she got her show, went back on Fox, when she came back after all the years missing from radio, and then she was on radio and had huge success with her radio show, and then Fox gave her own morning show. What did she say? The day she launched, I'll never forget it. She said, I didn't even tell my parents. I just put them in a limo and brought them here. And they were totally like, yes, she did. She did not even tell her freaking parents.
Sometimes you have to guard your dreams too.
Sometimes you got to guard your dreams. And that's what I'm trying to say. So you got to hold your dreams dear to your heart, just like you got to hold your children and your men.
Listen, that's a whole nother podcast, right? And you know, one thing before you go, Shunta, I want to ask you is, you know, I think sometimes, I know I mentioned that I'm like, you know, I'm someone who likes style, but when it comes to beauty, it's something that I'm trying to learn. I definitely know as an entrepreneur, it's important to really have like a signature style. It's important to be presentable to the world. What are some like general style tips, or beauty, skincare tips you can give to our audience about how they can really present themselves in, you know, a good way when they're out there building their brands?
Well, I feel like, you know, don't bring your nighttime makeup to work, you know? And I think that, you know, in the last few years, you know, it's been this heavy-handed beat, and you don't need that beat for work. You know, no celebrity wants your face that beat looking at them. You know, it's just not, unless they're a singer and they're going on stage, that's not the case. But you can't beat your face like that every day, because you may have an actress in your chair. You may have a senator in your chair. You never know who your client will be. You know, so you want to have a polished, pretty beat, but not be overly done. You know, make sure your eyebrows are not so strong they're screaming at people, you know. And I'm being honest, you know, softer always wins in the end. You know, all the girls, even famous women, they come out hard, blazing. Look at Nicki Minaj, colorful wigs, colorful outfits. And look at her now. She's in simple black hair, you know, bone straight hair, parted down the middle, clean beat. You know, so everyone always evolves to clean. So just start clean from the beginning, and then, you know, you have something to work up to. But I feel like everyone, when they learn the art of makeup, they just bring out their entire arsenal and they do everything, highlight to the gods and all this other stuff. And it's like, honey, we're on set and I got on literally a turban on my head with some glasses. Like, I don't even have lip gloss on. Do you know that you would look crazy if you walked on a set with this much makeup on, you know? And even I had to learn that. I wore a lot of makeup too at one point, and I've toned that down because it's not always the moment to do that, you know? So give it a moment. And then it's even more exciting when you do it. People are like, yes, bitch, you beat. But why do you're not going to get a yes, bitch, you beat at 6 a.m. at Empire when you're coming in with your face beat down like that. People are going to be like, you're crazy. You're so looking nuts.
So where can we find
time and a place?
So where can we find you online? Our dream drivers who want to learn more about you, want to connect, see your portfolio, all that good stuff. Yeah.
So to find me, Ashunta Sharif, ASHUNTA SHERIFF. You can find me at Twitter and at Instagram at both at Ashunta Sharif. You can follow my beauty line at Ashunta Sharif Beauty. on Instagram. You can also go to ashuntosharifbeauty.com to check out my beauty products. And then you can also go to ashuntosharifmakeup.com, which is my website. And you can see a body of my work. I have not updated my website for like 2 years because of Empire. But you will get to see a lot of great work because I work with some amazing actresses and singers in the industry and some political officials. So I'm, very happy with what I've done. And people can see that's what a body of work looks like. I've got like 17,000 portfolios on there.
Oh my gosh. One last thing, I have to make sure I ask you this because it's something that we all need. What keeps you going when you feel like giving up? Because, there's times when the industry may not always be so, so fun to be in, but like what are just some general things that keep you going?
Well, I'll give you an example. Empire can do that to us sometimes because we work sometimes 16, 18-hour days.
Wow.
And you don't have a life. My kids barely saw me. My mom barely saw me. My boyfriend barely saw me. My friends have not seen me. And at the end of the day, when I feel like I'm alone and all I'm doing is working, it's Taraji that says, girl, you got to remember the dream. You got to always remember the dream. You asked for this. You asked for this level of success. You asked for, so now, you're here. You got to own it and you got to receive it. And so that's what I have to always remember. And I have to also remember, more importantly, that I asked God for this. These were in my prayers. These were my lips uttering to him in my moments when I was younger, like, God, please give me this chance. Well, he did more than give me a chance, So I have to be cognizant that I asked for this and be very gracious in that and humble in that it's happened. So that's what keeps me going. Whenever I have a moment where I feel like I'm not grateful, I have to tell myself, girl, be grateful because this will be taken from you at any moment. So you got to always be grateful for every step of the journey along the way. You put it in the universe, you ask for it, he gonna give it to you. He's gonna give it to you. So I'm on an interview, Taraji, right now.
Excuse me, no ma'am. No job interviews here. She got a job.
Not a job interview, Taraji. Not a job
interview.
Oh, okay.
It's for the Dreams and Drive podcast.
As you were. Goodbye. How you doing? Good
all
day.
Right. Bye-bye.
Your radio show is going to be on fire.
Oh my God,
she just grabbed the...
Oh my God. I'm like,
she's freaking out. She just walked off set and she thought that you were giving me a job.
This is
anyway,
so funny.
That's the best way to end this interview.
That is going to be the best way. Thank you so much, Ashunta. I will definitely...
and everybody go buy my Perfect Blend.
Yes. All right. Enjoy the rest of your night, okay?
Okay, you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
God bless.
All right, so that's a wrap for episode 95 with Ashunta Sharif. I hope that you enjoyed hearing her dream driving story as well as her keys to success. So what did you think of the episode? Let me know by tweeting me or sending me a message on Instagram. And you can find me on both at Dreams and Drive. So that's just Dreams and Drive across the board on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I respond about 99% of the time, so you can definitely hit me up there. And I also love retweeting and searching the hashtag to see what other people are posting and engaging there as well. And if you really love what Ashunta shared in today's episode, then I would, from the bottom of my heart, ask you to share this episode with a friend. Now, there are multiple ways that you can share. You can send a screenshot, which is what I always do with my friends, right? If I'm listening to something that I really enjoy, I screenshot it and tell them they can go check it out. You can tell them to go to dreamsanddrive.com, or they can find us on their favorite podcast player, whether that be Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Pocket Cast, Google Play, iHeart, wherever. All they have to do is search Dreams and Drive and click on episode 95. And if you want today's show notes, and we have a lot of tweetables from today's episode, Ashunta shared so many gems, just go to dreamsanddrive.com and click on episode 95, or you can go to dreamsanddrive.com/Ashunta-Sharif. If you want to talk to other dream drivers about this episode or any other thing related to, your own dream driving journey, you need to make sure that you are part of our Dreams and Drive Facebook group. It's a private group. You can get access by going to dreamsanddrive.com/Facebook, or just search Dreams and Drive Mastermind on your Facebook feed, and you can find us and request access there. Thank you guys so much for the support that you have given me We're very close to the 100th episode. As always, I'm always trying to get listener questions. So if you have a question for me, just email me, Raina@dreamsanddrive.com. And if you haven't already, make sure that you go back and listen to episode 94 with Tamera Darden, where we talk about how she built a business taking photos on her iPhone. She talks about how you can find purpose, passion, and profit doing what you love, living a creative life. So if you are a creative, that episode is definitely for you. Our episode 96 guest will be Jasmine Lawrence of Eden Body Works, so you don't want to miss that one. Keep dreaming, keep driving, and we'll chat again in episode 96.